Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Legends Symbiosis, where we are going to figure out some new stuff today. First of all, we're going to figure out exactly how we use these fast travel tunnels that we just built. Secondly, we are going to meet an Urkan and either befriend or kill it, whichever seems most appropriate after we figure out exactly what it is. So first of all, let's talk about this ruin. We're going to run over here and search this thing next turn, right? I guess we could just do it this turn. How many... I only have one... okay, we probably want to wait till next turn. We'll get this Epitane and this one together. We'll head through the tunnel, and then we'll, do whatever on the other side. Hopefully 3 of us is enough to handle it. But before we do that, we want to talk about this money. All this money we have here. I figured out what I want to do with it. So we just finished researching alchemical alloys. I think the thing we ought to do with this money is retrofit our existing troops. So let's go into the troop designer here and upgrade these guys. The first thing we want to do is consider weapon types. Each unit has a certain number of weapon types that it's able to equip. For us, it is the quarterstaff and the mage wand. These do different things. You can see when we hit the enemy, in addition to them having different stats, obviously, when we hit the enemy, this one afflicts them with the slowdown ability, while this one hits them with unsteady. Slowdown, as we've seen already, is a reduction in the amount of spaces they can move. Unsteady is the same thing, except for attack. I think probably with these guys, we want to stick with the slowdown from the quarterstaff, because being able to kite enemies is really valuable. Now, we can equip items made out of simple iron. Now, you'll notice that these are tier 2 iron weapons. Every time we move up an era, our basic default gear type improves. So when we hit era 3, we'll have tier 3 iron stuff, and so on. But the items that we make out of strategic resources using our weapons stack are going to be way, way better. This does 29 attack, 8 defense, and 22 damage compared to the 18, 8, 8 of this thing. And we certainly have enough titanium to work with. There's an argument to be made for glass steel instead. Glass steel weapons in general do a lot less attack and damage than their titanium counterparts, but have a considerable amount of initiative on them. If we're going to try to kite enemies around, it does behoove us to be fast, but also you can solve a lot of your problems by just killing them before they reach you. That's true in real life too. That was a joke. Don't kill anybody because the man on YouTube said to do so. And we should probably put on some, actual armor here. All this stuff has stats. This would all be useful. And finally, we have one accessory slot down here. So we could equip a movement boosting trinket, which would usually be my choice. This is 2 extra movement on the world map and 1 extra movement in battle, in addition to a little bit of initiative. But I'm thinking if we're going to be going up against vaulters, probably in the near future, I wonder if we wouldn't be better off using iron rings in this slot. We get the sharp sense ability, which gives us extra defense against ranged attacks. Let's see, we can use... Okay, mage wands are 2-handed still. I figured with the name wand, it might be 1-handed and we might be able to equip a shield with it. You can tell I don't play with a lot of mage-y type units, so I did not remember whether this was 2-handed or not. Yeah, this seems fine. We're a little bit slower than we could be, but I think that the sharp sense will pay off a lot against the vaulters. So, that is our current Epitane design. Changing that did not change any of our currently existing units. And in fact, we're going to pull this guy out of the queue. You can see we have a second design for the Epitane now with all those strategics in it. But we can retrofit existing units by paying dust and strategics based on the difference in cost between the design that they had when they were built and our new design. So we're just going to retrofit both of our existing... sorry, we have 3 existing Epitanes here, but we're going to retrofit the 2 that actually have the ability to go into battle. This guy, retrofitting him is not such a priority. And we'll retrofit this one after he's finished building as well. Okay, let us move forward here. Sorry, no, we have to pick a research. Eventually, we're going to want to have meritocratic promotions so we can jam 6 units into an army. How much of a priority is that? I think actually getting the Gorgon design is more of a priority. I want to have some of these for fighting the vaulters. I still have every intention of going after them, obviously. Alright, let's get our dudes together here and make some trouble. Oh, I should probably have a plan for our hero. Dude needs to run. I think we're just going to run off into the unexplored part of the map. See if we see anything interesting out here. Ozek the Chosen is leveling up. So we could keep taking points in Impassioned Preacher, but I think we're just going to run up his tree as quickly as possible. Because at the top of the tree, there's this cold operator skill that will make the city no longer have any negative effects from winter at all. That seems really good. I think we want to get that as quickly as possible. Really nice thing to have when your entire empire is one city, and we've been attacked by vile Broken Lords. The bad news is Broken Lords are actually pretty good fighters. We might lose our hero here. We might have our hero wounded and have to recover them from the... what do you call it? From the academy. They have Stalwart, so you can see, Stalwarts 2. They have also done some redesigning. These guys are not actually very good. I mean, they're fine. They're certainly survivable. We'd have a hard time killing them, but they're not very damaging. Unfortunately, we're outnumbered to such a degree that there's no chance we could survive this. So we're going to retreat and take a ton of damage, and then we're going to run away and hope that they lose track of us. It's very, very likely here that we are going to lose this army. Yep, we did not finish Lust for Loot. What is your reassignment cooldown? 4 turns? Yeah, that's right. I did just reassign you. Okay, well, yeah, we're going to lose that army. That's a shame. Alright, let's do this thing. First of all, retrofit that guy, and then let's get out here and cause some trouble. So, what do we have to do exactly? Can I just... We can't just click. You can see that that path was from me just right-clicking over here. That insane path it was drawing around the world. Do I have to interact with the ruin? I do not have to interact with the ruin. Oh, there's a button. Fast travel requires our action points. You can see down here, our army has 1 action point. The action point is a currency that is spent when you perform certain actions, mostly attacking, but also retreating. It just makes it so that an army can only attack once per turn, or can't attack if they have already retreated. Or apparently, can't attack if they have used teleportation through a fungal ruin. So, we're going to search this, and then it's going to spawn... Nope, it didn't spawn anything this time. We've recovered Zolia's Blade, an heirloom of the Great Vaulter line. Legend has it that Zolia's blade was forged among the stars millennia past. Ingrained with Hyperium, it gives off a faint amethyst glow. That is a very good sword, but it costs 6 Hyperium. Hyperium is a 3rd-tier strategic resource. We will not have any of that for quite some time. Devastation upon devastation. I am ruined anew. I hang here in my cradle of tendrils, crushed under a new weight of knowledge. Centuries have passed. Centuries. I am old beyond mortal comprehension. I am cast adrift from every soul I ever knew. The only sliver of solace is the ancient Vaulter sword found in the ruins. What is my purpose now? Calm, the Mykara whispers, but I am anything but calm. The growing symbiosis, the melding of myself into the Mykara collective, has been arrested as I find myself shaken to the very core. Did the Mykara save me, or imprison me? As my soldiers explored the ancient scene of the massacre, relaying their impressions through the mycelial web that stretches across Auriga, it was the small details that first alerted me to something being amiss. Flooded corridors and stagnant pools of water, lichen overgrowths and collapsed caverns, rusted machinery and scattered bones. Ironically, it wasn't until they came to the chamber of the Great Orrery that the truth became impossible to deny. Despite the decay all around, the celestial mechanism had carried on working flawlessly, a testament to Vaulter engineering. Auriga had circled its sun 284 times since the mages' attack. The Urkan beast commanded by the mages would have returned to the depths. The mage who was the architect of the slaughter would have died long ago. The same for their offspring and their offspring's offspring, and onwards for who knows how many generations. In that thought, though, I found a tiny, devious shard of hope. The mages were a proud people, enraptured by their heritage, traditions, and history. A clan who committed such a famous victory, with an Urkan no less, would likely survive, even prosper, through the ages. The clan would be celebrated. Songs would be sung in their honor. They wouldn't be hard to find. And so it was. We will not have our revenge on those who committed the massacre. We will have our revenge on their descendants. They will pay for the sins of the ancestors, and they will have a new song to sing. Is there anything sweeter? I war with the Mykara, but I still must avenge the Vaulter dead. I am first of the bloodline. So we must defeat the 2 armies now roaming around Parandy and Inga. We cannot hurt those who have committed the genocide, lost as they are to the River of Time, but we can hurt their descendants. We're starting to lose the moral high ground on this one, I think. So, let's pin that. Parandy and Inga. Oh, there's Inga. We know Parandy? Could be this region, I suppose. It doesn't look like we know it. We're certainly not in Parandy now. Well, as long as we're here, we may as well search this ruin. Yeah, 70 dust. Not bad. So, we can't teleport back because it takes our action point. You can run over here and grab this pearl. And then I guess we can try to make for that ruin. We might be able to get off one good temple search here. Do I want to retrofit these guys real fast too? I suppose so. They're going to be part of our army, right? Alright, over here, I think we are doomed. Where even is that? Here we go. Over here, I think we are doomed, but we're going to run. We're going to try our best. We are not going to survive long enough for this hero to get off assignment cooldown, unfortunately. Because that would actually save the army to some degree, right? Because I think the unit that's not a hero, the unit that's not the hero here, has the movement conflux on. Oh, did they lose sight of us? Nope. I was kind of hoping that the dust blizzard space here would have deprived them of vision. So we have enough movement to retreat one more time. Also, breaking through the crust, the ancient Urkan beast's roar echoes across the lands. Where will it burrow next? And will it be a danger or a boon for your empire? Untamed Urkans move between neutral regions they control every once in a while, spawning roaming armies of lice every so often. Urkans can be tamed either by combat or by feeding them with specific luxury resources. Once tamed, they grant the luxury and strategic resources of the region they control. They can be relocated or can switch into their army form. The Urkan training screen, accessible from the Urkan on the map, also gives access to new powers to unlock. Where's this thing? It is very distant. Yeah, very distant. And it's real big and creepy looking. 838 health, huh? Indestructible. It has the indestructible capacity. I don't know what a bunch of this stuff does, and unfortunately we can't mouse over it. The tooltip just disappears. So, this is the button that accesses his training screen. So we can give him gifts. We can basically bestow tribute upon him. And when we do so, possessed with the unique ability to read and transform chemical markers, while rooted, Chaka can disrupt nearby enemies' scientific investigations. But wait, requires Chaka. What? Is this... Requires Khazar and Chaka? Okay, Fakir is a... This is the guy that we have. So there's 3 different Urkans. Alright, so... While he's rooted in a region... Own and allied cities in neighboring regions produce plus 20% dust, while enemy cities... Okay, so this is some powerful stuff. Urkan and lice under your control have plus 20% initiative and 2 movement. Interesting. We don't obviously have much to do with him while he's all the way over there. It's a little awkward for us to interact. But we do have the ability to interact with him from a much greater distance than everybody else does, because we could just fungal tunnel our way over to him. I'm going to try to make for this. I don't know if this thing is actually still going to be searchable. I don't know how long the dust eclipse is going to last, obviously. We don't see any ruins in the darkness. I'm thinking we probably don't want to actually conduct war on the Vaulters until, at the very earliest, we have our hero back with us. Then we will, we'll give some serious consideration to it. But that means we have a couple of turns to run around over here, so I'm going to do that. Just explore a little bit, see what's what. So we have some Seratan in this region. Pearl deposit of... Okay, 6 pearls. We're definitely going to grab those. I do hope the eclipse lasts at least one more turn, because I do want to search that ruin. One more turn before we know the design for the Gorgon. What are we going to build in our city for one turn? I'm thinking we probably want our army to be like 4 Epitane, and then... Oh, I forgot to mash the runaway button, but it wouldn't have mattered. They would have caught us either way. This temple ruin is not an eclipsed temple ruin, notice. That means that somebody has already searched it since the beginning of this eclipse, which means that there's a player around here somewhere. We are at war against another empire within the next 10 turns. We'll receive a big bunch of dust. Yeah, that may well might happen. You know what I meant. A wandering Draken researcher calling herself Archivist Kaushai, maybe, comes to you with interesting concepts of rule and iron hands in velvet gloves. You are convinced that in order to maximize your political influence, you should show that you are not to be insulted or trifled with. Though war is not always practical, Kaushai convinces you that if you show you are willing to go to battle, you will gain awe and the respect of others. Yeah, okay, maybe. Respect might not be the right word. Okay, that temple is still eclipsed. I wonder who is over here. Ourselves 85 dust. I think we probably just want to come back home at this point. I'm not expecting... Well, you know what? Actually, we could reach that if the eclipse doesn't end. Yeah, alright, go give it a shot. See some vaulters for a moment here. Oh, a settler. Alright, well that works for me. If they want to fan out and settle a bunch of places and then let me take those places from them, I am cool with that. So we're probably actually good on military units. We have enough pearls down to build the altar of Auriga. We could build a husbandry center. So the husbandry center is +5 food for each citizen who is working food in your city. Obviously, we could divert people pretty hard to food. But even though we get some amount of our food output as industry back, 10%, right? Obviously, it's still way better for quickly building things to actually have people focused on industry, and there are situations where you need to quickly build things. I almost wonder if we do want to try to go after the megapole. It is only 10 turns. We don't need more military units right this second, but like in a turn when the Gorgon design finishes, we probably want to build at least a couple of these. So I suppose... Let's queue up the Altar of Auriga. We put it right here. It's going to level up that district, and it's going to grab us that clay. And the Altar of Auriga is a special district that does not reduce approval. So by leveling up this district while in fact gaining ourselves some approval from building the altar, we're going to put our city into permanent fervency. Or at least until we do something to screw it up. Alright, and then, sadly, this army down here is slain in combat. Oh well, I guess we'll fight back a little bit. We can at least bloody their nose while they're killing us. Alright, so we're probably going to have to buy our man back here. It says 260 now. The cost to restore him will come down over time as he heals. But I think that's the next thing we're spending dust on, is reviving our captured hero here. Our hero who got caught out in the dark. And then, yeah, you're going to try to get this and then come back home. These guys are going to hopefully get that and then come back home. And then we will make war. I see no reason to let these vultures just sit on our border and prosper. Make ourselves a Gorgon or two. I think we should be in a spot where we can do something here. Alright, get the Eclipse search of Ted Adamantian plus a normal search. A great statue looms above you, some grim creature of teeth and horns and wings, whose inscription is ruined and unreadable. Below it is a newer one, scratched roughly into the stone. I, Nuahedem, have failed to return the shard of Akariel. The 3 who find that sword and place it here will gain what I could not. Below the writing, a rough map has been sketched, and between the feet of the creature there appears to be the outline of a sword that was once inset as part of the pedestal. So, these temple ruins could be searched with a strong infantry hero of level 4 minimum in order to gain access to the Shard of Icariel, which is a very good one-handed sword. Is our army hero level 4? He totally is. Well, that makes me want to kind of keep this army over here until he's ready to be reawakened. Spawn him on here and get the sword. The sword costs a resource that we don't have any of to equip, sadly. I think we need the dust from this pretty badly. Ordinarily, I would just attack the settlers. Oh, interesting. There's another Vaulter player across the ocean there. Well, ocean. Across this very narrow strait. 10 Adamantian, that's a shame. I really wish we had found some Palladian there. So you guys probably want to stay in this area. I guess we could just grab pearls for the moment. These pearl deposits are pretty tiny. Maybe we want to just run this way and hope to see some ruins. You know what? We should... A bird in a hand is worth two in the bush, right? We should take the reward that we can see, rather than a reward we hope might be in the dark. Now that we have the design for this Gorgon, let's have a quick look at it. So, it sure does hold a lot of weapons. It has the dual wield skill, which allows it to hold two melee weapons instead of a weapon and a shield. You only get half the stats of the offhand weapon, but that's still pretty good. You also get all the capacities of the offhand weapon. So you can see here, we have access to one-handed axes and one-handed swords on this unit. Swords give you the Infantry Slayer trait, while axes give you the Range Slayer trait. We'll want to keep one of each so that we have both of those traits, because that's just like a bunch of bonus damage to enemy units. So we definitely want to equip you with basic armor. You probably don't need a move bonus, and then we're mining 0 titanium and 1.5 glass steel. So we need to put up some Mykaran extractors, rather. For now, maybe what we want to do here is equip them entirely with glass steel. I'm just thinking that the initiative bonus would be really relevant on our cavalry, because if we can catch the archers with melee attacks, they don't get to shoot their actual their bows the way they would like to, at the targets they would like to. Let's go. Highest initiative weapon in the main hand, sword in the offhand. We have Range Slayer 2 and Infantry Slayer 2 this way. And this is a pretty formidable unit. Alright, give me at least one of those. This might be a good time to pick up Meritocratic Promotion, because we are actually going to have at least 6 units that want to engage in combat. We're still trying to fast build troops, which is why I'm staying focused on industry for now. But you know what? After we build that Gorgon... Well, we'll worry about it after we build the Gorgon. We might want to build the Husbandry Center and just get on food production real hard for a while. We might be through the stuff that we really need to produce quickly. Actually, I don't know why I'm looking at these guys first. I should look at these guys first, because I want to run over here and see if we can attack this guy. We're just going to spook him a little bit. Doing this, of course, will make Blue very upset with us, but we don't actually care about that. I'm definitely planning to kill them anyway. Hi. What's up? You fled into the dust blizzard in this space in an attempt to become invisible to us. Units that are in dust blizzards can only be seen by units that are directly adjacent to them. But, I think he's probably doomed, right? Oh, see, he moved back to a space. You can see this tile is within the area of the battle. So if we were to attack him again, from this angle at least, he would get the city garrison as reinforcements. What about if I do it from here? Aha! From here, he does not. So we'll attack him real fast at the beginning of the turn and just kill him straight up. At least that's the hope. Oh, that is a ruin. It is not a temple ruin, sadly. But, I mean, we may as well just, like, pick up some quests and stuff while we're out here waiting for our hero to come back. 234. Maybe we'll get lucky. The Drogeshi could be fearsome allies, but can they be trusted? Banished by the roving clans ages ago for acts of violence, were they innocent victims or cold-hearted aggressors? Do they keep anger and violence in their hearts? You will need to collect artifacts and antiques to get to the bottom of this question. We can verify the traditional story of the feud between the roving clans in Dorgeshi by producing 84 dust in our capital city with which to buy ancient artifacts. And if we do that, we'll get the foe skewer weapon, which is interesting, but I don't think that none of our units can use spears. So this is not very compelling. And then the next step of the quest would give us the ability to pacify them. Not really a great pull for us. Come on, large amount of dust. We have instead acquired Ziri's Band, which allows a hero to gain stealth. Well, that's a shame. We might have to just move some people in the city over onto dust production so we can buy back that hero. This only adds 1 turn to the production of the Gorgon, but it'll get us our hero back. Yeah, alright. I don't like adding 1 turn to the production of the Gorgon, but I think we have to. And so now, we have constructed the Altar of Auriga. This does a couple of things for us. Number 1, it gives us access to this web of blessings that we can purchase that will give our cities various buffs. These are all different ways of spending pearls to do useful things. We don't really care about any of them right at the moment. And number 2, it gives us the ability to affect upcoming winters. So each winter, at the end of each winter, will be shown a list of 3 possible effects that the next winter will add onto the list of winter effects. Once they're added onto this list, they apply in each subsequent winter, not just the next one. And we can, you can see here, spend pearls to pray and affect which one is going to happen. Unfortunately, the longer you wait after the beginning of summer, the more expensive the pearls or the prayers get, and they're already too expensive for us. We do not have enough pearls to pray even once. So we're going to get one of these at random, I think, if they are tied for most prayers. It just picks among the tied things at random. So -1 dust on terrain with dust would not be great for us. Minus fortification on cities and plus fortification damage on units would actually be pretty okay for us this winter, but might be a real problem later. And plus 15% attribute of units from hostile minor faction villages, but lowered assimilation cost, probably will have no effect on the game at all. I'm kind of hoping for that one, to be perfectly honest with you. Alright, let us head back toward the ruins and resummon our hero. And we can hit this on the way out. Okay, somebody else has completed the Wealth Harvester legendary deed, gotten themselves all of those wonderful emeralds. Somehow, I reckon we will survive. Alright, so resummon the hero. Put him down here. For 5 turns, ensure that you have a unit of at least 4 of the 5 existing unit classes in your Empire garrisons. This is not very likely to happen. The 5 classes are Infantry, Ranged, Flying, Support, and Cavalry. I guess we have the ability to build Ranged and Cavalry right now. We have the Ended. We have the Haunts assimilated, so we can build Ended, which are Flying. This could occur. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Just hoping for one of those nice easy quests that gives all the good stuff, you know? Oh, also apparently I did this. That's true, I did put all my people on dust, didn't I? The Dorgeshi weapons were not Dorgeshi at all, and the supposed trophies not even human remains. They are victims. With 100 dust, you can buy their trust if you do it quickly. I'm not giving them 100 dust. I don't actually care about these guys being pacified. So it actually looks pretty deserted over here. Never mind. It actually looks very purple over here. But I think this is remote enough that we would probably be able to hold on to it. And do we see any other important strategic resource things that I would like to grow over? This thing in Syagor is probably remote enough to remain unmolested. Do we want any more glass steel? Probably, right? Well, we're producing 1.5 points of glass steel each turn. Remember, our extractors are slightly less efficient than most people's. Generally speaking, an extractor produces 1 point of resource per turn. Also, I forgot to mash the attack button on this this settler at the beginning of the turn. Fortunately, he didn't really go anywhere. So we'll just have at him over here. Oh, right, I can't attack him inside of his own territory without declaring war. We could just declare, but I think that will ruin the surprise. So let's pull you guys back to industry. Okay, we can still get him in just as many turns. And I think we might just build another one after that. And just keep building military units until the war has actually occurred. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be over here for a minute. This is the one downside of not taking the movement accessory. The map movement is awfully valuable. And we still don't know where Parandy is, do we? Nope. Okay, that's not clickable. I didn't think so. Oh, please. Please enter my territory. You fool! Where are you even going? Ah, sure. Include Warden as reinforcements here. Let's really scare him. He's just gonna retreat. But... Oh, no, he did not. He fought us, or he didn't have... He should have had enough health to successfully retreat. Well, whatever. 3.8 XP for our hero. And this will be Blue shouting at us about aggression during Cold War. Yep. Clearly indicates a desire for more. Yep. You're not wrong. I am indicating my desire for more violence. Let's go ahead and finish Iron Taskmaster. So at this point, an extra full 100 life on the units led by this hero. We'll go get our Shard of Icariel and hopefully at some point in the future become rich enough in resources to actually make some use of it. It is nice to have accumulated such a huge stockpile of resources via questing. So we get the shard this turn. Oh, I should make sure you guys are actually in my territory before looking away from you for extended periods of time. The spices have run out, and there is no more. We are out of spices. Fortunately, we are fervent forever without having to have a resource booster running. Alright, so we search this. We successfully gain our Shard of Icariel. If only we had some Palladian. It's alright, I'm sure we'll find some soon. So we actually have a ton of influence to work with here. We've been producing a lot. What do we want to grab? And there's certainly an argument for 30% attack on units. That seems pretty good. We could also get a reduction in the costs of buildings. Remember, we are going to need some influence for the declaration of war, and also some influence for negotiating peace afterward, should that be a thing we care about doing. So I'm going to stop here, but I think this is pretty strong for us. So units are cheaper to build, and also have a ton of extra attack, and we have bonus science, and buildings are lower in cost. It's a lot of good stuff all at once there. So we can talk to this village. I don't think we actually talked to any of the villages in this region on the way over here, did we? Alright, do we want to build one more unit? I suppose we should. You know what, actually... the industrial megapole's cost will be reduced by that Empire plan thing we just took on. So maybe this would be a good time to try to build this. I definitely want to keep building units, but also, this has gotten quite cheap for us. And if we have the megapole, it's going to definitely reduce the amount that it hurts to move all of our dudes off of industry in the future. Plus, I want it. That's got to be a good enough reason, right? I'm putting it in the queue. Let's do this thing. Okay. So the effect of the Empire plan doesn't actually occur until the beginning of the turn after you spend. So right now, we should see that reduction in cost. Yep, only 6 turns. You can see there's 670 full industry cost. And now... we are experiencing a religious fervor, believing that Auriga's anomalies are signs of the gods' blessings. A new cult generates influence from anomalies. For the next 9 turns, all anomalies generate 4 extra influence for us, which is pretty good. We're settled on a number of anomalies. This is better for other players who can have more than one city. Alright, so we now have the ability to have 6 units in each army. We have the good weapons tech. I'm not sure. This allows us to garrison units in tamed Urkans we control. We have a little bit better idea what that means now. I'm not sure that there's anything else that we're going to pick up here that is going to help us with the war effort. So we can go back to focusing on economic stuff. I suppose, actually, one thing we could pick up is the pillage ability. This will let us pillage enemy tile improvements, things like extractors or watchtowers, and get loot out of doing so. And the pillage both disables it for a while and gives you some loot. This can be a good way to get your economy running. We won't be able to see the next tier of strategics until we've picked up 6 more technologies. Actually, you know what I would like to pick up is Alchemy Workshop. Our researches are starting to get a little bit long, so a dedicated science building I think would be a good idea, and this is a really powerful one. Alright, let's gain a little bit of XP by talking to these guys before we leave. Give them 10 dye and 10 blood crystal. Well, that's not happening. Though the leader wants only the best for her people and is a good leader, she presents herself poorly and is apt to lose her temper. As a result, though the tribe is doing well, their leader secretly admits she could use a bit of a boost from a powerful neighbor. If you shower her people with some opulent luxuries, she will certainly be willing to view you as an ally. Bad news. An empire has begun disposing of one of my fungal blooms. How dare they? The good news is, it's going to take them a while. So what's happening here is they're using the pillage ability, I think. You can see down there at the bottom of that tooltip, this building has 320 fortification health, and this army only does 6 fortification damage. So, they are not very good at this job. We could just attack. The reason I'm thinking we might just attack here is that we're definitely never going to do this quest. But we could just get some free XP off of these guys, and we have so... First of all, they're Seratan, and they're terrible fighters. And secondly, we have so much health regen that we probably will just heal off any damage we take from doing this anyway. Yeah, let's just get some XP. Our units are powerful. I'm even just gonna auto-resolve this. Triders are really bad at combat. Yeah, our hero is the only unit who took damage. That is fine by me. It does mean we can't use the teleporter this turn, but I'm actually totally okay with that. I'm going to have these guys... I was going to run these guys just into our garrison, but what I'm going to do now is have these guys run over here and spook the sisters. Because I think... Yeah, if we attack from this angle, my city garrison will appear in the battle as backup. They don't want any part of that. Alright, let's teleport over, and then I think we're declaring war possibly next turn, maybe the turn after. We certainly have the influence now, thanks to all this religious fervor. Okay, they see me coming and they've changed their minds. Or not. Or they just, you know, they hate living. I get that. No, I don't. This seems like a terrible play. What are you guys doing? Alright, so this army cannot reinforce because they do not have an action point. But obviously we should be massively successful here. Yeah, so they just retreat. Makes sense to me, but apparently they can retreat while continuing to... Boy, what does retreat mean where they come from? They can just sit here and continue to pillage while retreating. Alright, let's take these 3 units and run them up into this army. And you know what? Our hero actually doesn't have any quest gear on, or doesn't have any gear on at all. He still has the tier 1 stuff he started with. So let's talk about fixing that. Now, obviously, these upgrades are not free. So the dust cost is based on the difference in industry cost between the gear you're wearing now and the gear you want to upgrade to. You can see these level 2 greaves have an industry cost of 12. These early upgrades are pretty cheap. As far as weapons go, what do we want to do with him? He can use a one-handed sword with a shield or a two-handed sword. Given that we're going to be going up against armies that are probably pretty ranged heavy, it's a good idea to use a shield. And we have this fancy quest shield, and it's made of an advanced resource, but a resource that we happened to find a bunch of, right? 22 defense, plus 25% health, plus 30% defense. I imagine, yes, compares very favorably to other shields that we have available. So you should equip this pot lid here, and then also... probably a glass steel sword. Try to give ourselves the initiative necessary to outact the enemy archers, and also because we're a little low on titanium. And as far as accessories go, so because he is using a shield, he has the block capacity, but unlike most shields, this dish does not give him sharp sense. It is usually the case that shields give sharp sense. So, I think we're going to go ahead and equip the Sharp Sense Trinket on him. Plus 30 defense against range attacks. And then that is exactly all of our money. So that's where we will stop upgrading his equipment. I think our army's pretty tough. We should be able to do some good work here. So we are definitely going to attack this guy again right at the start of this turn. I'm going to make him pay the price for being over here and inefficiently pillaging my stuff. Notice in the upper right corner, our quest is partially finished. It turns out we don't actually have to defeat these armies. The armies just have to be defeated. Somebody else killed one of our quest armies. Alright, so a fungal bloom has been completed. We have those extractors up. That's really good for us. We did not do this thing. I sure didn't. And we're going to not have these guys appear as reinforcements. And the reason for that is that having them attempt to join the battle as reinforcements will spend their action point, even if the battle doesn't actually happen because the enemy retreats. We definitely want to hold our action point. It is not needed here. So I guess we're not declaring war this turn either, because there's no sense in declaring war and then walking over to their city, right? We want to run into their borders and then declare on them when we're close enough to actually make it happen. I mean, I'm going to steal these pearls now. I am no longer concerned about what they think of me. But we don't actually want this guy to be out by himself. We want to make sure that if one army is going to get attacked, it's the hero army. It is unfortunately going to take a minute to walk over to their city. I'm very hopeful about a victory here. I think we should at least have a chance. We'll know more in a moment here. So they are running a bunch of Justiciars around. These are units of the Sisters of Mercy faction, which we know that they have assimilated. Oh, are they going to come to us? Because I don't think that would be very smart, but they're welcome to. See, their Marine 4 has 82 attack with 63 damage, 51 defense, and 154 life. The Gorgons are not nearly as good. Okay, our Epitanes are in the neighborhood of as powerful as those units. We have a numbers advantage here. We have the Gorgons, who will hopefully serve as good distractions at the very least. They have 77 initiative to the enemy Marines 48. So, okay, we will get to go before them, which means we'll get to pick some of them off. Yeah, okay, I have hope here. We're gonna declare war and then charge that dude. So, here's hoping that we catch him off guard. I do love the fact that our units have a lot of health regen. That's a very powerful thing. So as soon as the turn starts up, we're going to call them up on the big red phone and tell them that war were declared, and then we're going to run over here and start some stuff. They have a bunch of units in their garrison. They just have a bunch of units in general. If Cold War does not limit your ambitions, then war it will be. Also, they spent some influence closing their borders to us, and then we immediately declared war, so it didn't matter. Turns out I don't care about your laws. Alright, so they have that one good Marine. They have a Marine 3, which has worse stats. They have their 2 Justiciars, which are tough, but... Oh, they're Cavalry Slayers, too, so they're equipped with spears. We want to keep them away from the Gorgons as best we can. And then they have their hero here, Eslek Tarosh, in the city. His combat stats are fine, not great, because he's not really outfitted for combat. Yep, all their Justiciars have Cavalry Slayer 4, which is a lot of extra damage to cavalry units, so we gotta be pretty careful. Alright, so the retreating happens as you might expect, and then we're gonna possibly get attacked? I'm not sure what they're doing. But mostly our goal there was just to weaken that troop. I thought there was a chance they would stand and fight us. They chose not to, proving that they are, in fact, the greatest cowards of all time. But that's fine. So, fortification, right? If we attack the city, if we just run over here and attack, all of the armies, all of the units that they get to use to defend will have 130 bonus health. Obviously, we don't want that. So we're going to run over here and we're going to siege them. We don't have a ton of fortification damage, but we can get started, and eventually they'll just attack us, right? After we finish this industrial megapole, we're definitely going to start building more units to come over and reinforce. My rate of mining here is only... Wait, only one? Don't I have 2 of these blooms up? The other one not actually happen? We should be bringing in more than 1 titanium per turn, then. That's strange. Maybe the tooltip's wrong. Sometimes that happens. Oh, interesting. Fakir ran over to Auriga. Well, we don't have enough resources to interact with him anyway, I guess. We could just fight him and take him over by force, but not right now. He is healthy. And it seems like... Well, it seems like his little lice dudes are not too tough. I wonder how strong we would have to get to be able to take him on. He's going to resettle in 3 turns. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I do not yet know the full implications of this system. Alright, so there's my wonder getting completed, which is very, very good for us. Everybody likes to have a bunch of free industry during a war. Get over here and begin the siege. If we move this unit adjacent to the city, he'll contribute his 4 damage to the siege, but obviously the downside of that is that he makes himself pretty attackable. So they have a bunch of units. They have a huge number of units, actually. They're going to come over here. Who dares? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they dare. That makes sense. Okay, we failed this quest for the Eyeless Ones in Auriga because the village we got it from was destroyed. We have finished our industrial megapole, and the time is probably upon us to get some more units over here. So we're building these guys very, very quickly. Let's go for another Gorgon or 2, just because they're fast units. They'll get over to the war quickly. But we definitely would like to have another army worth of dudes, if we could. So we are still a good ways out here. We could research our other military unit. Shambler, the heavy infantry. I don't think they'll be particularly great against the Vaulters, but the fact that the Vaulters ended up with a ton of melee who have Cavalry Slayer does make our Gorgons slightly less good. I'm not really sure. Oh, you know what we should grab? We should grab military science. This will give us some extra fortification on our city. This is a good defensive tech, especially if you only have 1 city, so you only have to build it once. This is unfortunately a slow siege. In general, ranged units have bad fortification damage. Which winter effect did we get? We got, okay, the one that has no meaningful effect. Looks like during the winter here, our dust output is getting kind of murdered. We don't really need to have a lot of income, we just need to not be negative. Alright, there we go, that'll do. This Gorgon out. I think he might already be in reinforcement range there. Yeah, we could just go for this. He's not quite. Obviously, it would be best to attack before their armies move into reinforcement range, but we also could just sit here and siege them all the way down to 0 fortification, and then it won't matter much whether they're in reinforcement range or not. I thought I had set this up so that we were not negative. Okay, there we go. That is a pearl. We will steal that. So as it is right now, we'll bring their fortification all the way down in 4 turns. That is an unacceptably long time to wait. We don't know exactly where their armies are, so if we attacked right here, like, it's entirely possible that some of those armies are within reinforcement range. And we saw them over there, and it was 1 turn of wintertime movement. Do I think they're close enough yet? I don't. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to hit end turn here. As soon as we're going to mash the execute your planned movements button, get this guy into reinforcement range, and then we're going to attack immediately. hopefully catching the AI before they execute their moves for the turn. So we're going to bring in 8 units against Anchan's fairly well-defended 4 units. Well, 4 units plus a hero. The hero is never included in the unit count. Alright, we did not get them before the reinforcements showed up, but we may still be able to work through this. Alright, so our hero and our Gorgons are all faster than all of their units, and then all of our ranged are faster than about half of them. Again, it is not great for us to have our Gorgons charging into their melee units, because their melee units have a huge bonus to damage against cavalry. I kind of wonder if I want the Gorgons to maybe just ignore this entirely and have them both run to flank around. You can see they have 5 combat movement. They're pretty good at flanking. I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, interesting. They chose not to bring the reinforcement army in. I don't think that's the right play. Okay, well, I don't think that changes anything. I'm going to send the Gorgons around the long way. Our hero will, I guess, just stand here and bravely hold the pass. You can flank around this way. It's unfortunate the militia also have Cavalry Slayer, so our poor Gorgons are going to get torn up here. I might try to keep them pretty far out of combat. These have 3 movement. Actually, wow, you can hardly move at all without engaging. And then I'm just going to have the Gorgons fire at whatever they can fire at. Because the sisters are going to run forward to fight the hero. The hero, with free counter, is going to hit both of the units that can hit him. I think this is actually really good terrain for us on the whole, provided the sisters do what I'm hoping they'll do. It doesn't have to be the sisters. Any of their units running forward is good for us. Awful lot of zeros and stuff here. Also, I don't love that. Should have been a little bit more careful with my targeting here. Okay, so things got a little strange. Let's fall back. I don't really want to engage in a face-to-face with those guys. I am going to have this Gorgon run forward and attack, even though it's not like super great for him to have to fight this target. Just because I don't want them to fight... I don't want them to melee my ranged character. Actually, you know what, though? This guy can get so deep that he gets to attack the enemy hero. That guy does not have Cavalry Slayer. You can run to here and deal with that. You can also help deal with him. Let's try to make sure this guy dies. This sister is under control. Our hero has this. Too worried about that. So... yeah. Try to make one of the sides of this battle totally safe. Ow. I'm having a hard time actually dealing damage to their units. Okay, 75 damage. So you may notice that 75 did not look like it did a ton of damage. That's because he had fortification. A unit that has fortification can take, at most, damage equal to the amount of fortification it has left. You cannot... If a unit has even 1 point of fortification on it, you hit it for 400, all you will do is strip the fort. Alright, well, I don't think it's going to take everybody to kill that one. It looks like we're definitely not getting the city this turn. I'm going to let our Gorgons run free a little bit here. We've got to start doing some damage. I would really love it if we could take the city. We're not going to get it in this battle, but we are going to mess the defenders up real bad. So all of the militia in a city's garrison regenerate for free every turn, unless the city is held under siege or it's below 100% ownership. And what below 100% ownership means effectively is that the city has been conquered. If we were to take this city from them, which we will not do on this attack, but hopefully we will do shortly after, we would receive the city at 0% ownership, and then our ownership would build up over time. I'm actually going to have this Gorgon run down here and attack that guy. Just slow him down, not let him actually get in on any of our ranged units. Okay, I managed to take 0 damage on that. Well, that's all their fortification, at least. We're having so much trouble dealing any damage at all to these sisters. Ow. Well, all the cliffs are unfortunate. I'd really like to flank around this guy and attack him from a different angle. Try to lead these guys on a little bit of a chase. But it is not happening. And I want all my units to survive, because even very injured units, you know, they will heal up. They will heal up pretty quickly for our faction, in fact. Alright, so that hero may not actually be dead. Like all heroes, he has that last stand ability. So as long as any part of his army survives, which is to say this unit, he will regenerate with a single point of health. Militia don't count. If the only surviving things in his army were militia, he would still be dead. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to stop... We're not going to be able to kill them. Does anybody even have... No, nobody even has range. Alright. Well, we'll kill the militia here. I didn't... Right, I didn't tell that Gorgon not to attack. Well, that is an error. Not a big error, probably, given how limited the relevance of these Gorgons has been, but still an error for sure. Okay, now they're coming after us. Well, you can see Eslik Tarash here. Last standed through the battle with 1 health. This is an interesting way for them to engage in this battle. They brought a single Justiciar forward. They have a lot of units, but their units are going to have to channel in slowly through the reinforcement space, which I think is going to turn out badly for them. Let's get Gorgons. Actually, we want the healthier Gorgon over here. This guy can go down here. We're going to try to pressure their reinforcement spots, and we just want the ranged units as far forward as possible. We're going to try to flood the bottleneck here. Their units will want to move off of the reinforcement spaces to come and fight us. But if we attack them on the reinforcement spaces before their turn, obviously, as you have seen from the, just the general mechanics of combat, they will not actually be able to move. So that is my hope here, that we can just block them in and take them on with our vastly superior numbers as they trickle in 1 or 2 at a time. It is vital to control the reinforcement spots. Wow. Alright, well that worked. Yeah, so you can see, even though they have comparable or maybe even superior numbers in the battle as a whole, because they're having to trickle in through the reinforcement spaces, they're getting their asses handed to them. You cannot quite reach... I think I'm going to let this Gorgon go ahead and attack their hero. No, you know what? No, I'm not. I was going to say, just to keep it from being able to attack, but she goes last in the turn order. There's no way she lives. So you lock them up, you can just get out of there. Now, we're not doing as much damage as I had hoped there. Okay, that's a little better. Alright, well now we've got them, properly trapped. I'm going to have you just chill out over here. We can certainly attack their ranged unit with our melee, or with our cavalry. That's the dream. And you can just get here and keep you under control. So now, the way this is working out, they're never going to get to choose targets ever again. That's the value of the initiative. All of their units still get to do counterattacks right when we hit them, but we get to determine how the units fight each other, and the advantage there, it's probably very obvious. Just make sure we're dealing a melee attack to each one. Ooh. Okay, we probably want that Gorgon to disengage. Okay, well that's an embarrassing failure for them. So now, the city is just Eslik Tarash with 1 health, and no fortification points. Unfortunately, we don't have any action points left, so we cannot actually claim the city this turn, but we will claim it next turn, obviously. And things are going pretty well. It is a good idea, in general, to attack the enemy, like, right after moving up a tier of strategic weaponry. This is you are maximizing your military power relative to their military power. Every moment you wait after you have picked up your upgrade is a moment that they are getting upgrades of their own, right? The moment the turn flips over here, we're taking this city. Okay, and some fungal blooms have been completed, so we do have more extractors up now. Alright. We won easily. Apparently they withdrew Eslik Tarash. That's smart. That's probably a good idea. And now we have ourselves an overgrown city. So let's have a look at this thing. First of all, we do have to be aware of this. It looks like they're marching on my capital. We'll deal with that. Influence on anomalies has returned to normal. With its charismatic leader discredited, the religion providing influence from anomalies withers and fades. A shame, but we built up a pretty good supply of influence there. So Urkan is probably... I think it's safe to take a little bit of a break here and produce for ourselves a science building. Man, I can't wait for this winter to be over. And then we'll have the Gorgon... I mean, do I want to have the Gorgon jump out? I might want to have the Gorgon just wait here. So with our limited movement and poor action point control for the moment, we really can't be too much of a threat. We can try to catch them, but we're going to move like this, probably. They have 4.5 points of move, because each one of them has an improved movement trinket on. So they'll get to the city ahead of us, but I think we'll be close enough behind that we'll show up in the reinforcements. Alright, so let's have a quick look at our overgrown city. I think we're probably not going to do any more turns this video. Let's just have a look at this thing. So, we have the Dwellers of the Deep effect here. Symbiosis will be completed in 6 turns. When that happens, +1 science on terrain with science, immunity to food, and approval reduction on effects on cities due to winter. Okay, that's alright. Okay, so it's going to be a few turns before we're ready to actually, like, do stuff here. And I don't know how these symbiosis abilities actually work. Like, once we have this ability in our empire, we probably have to hold on to the city for us to keep it, right? Probably. Anyway, I think this is probably, you know, we've made some good progress here. We still have to figure out where this other roaming army is, and unfortunately, the text here does not give us any indication of which one of the 2 was destroyed. So it's possible the roaming army in Inga is still around. That would be ideal, obviously. I think it's much more likely, though, that the roaming army in Inga got killed by Blue, and that still, somewhere in the distant land of Parandi, there is a roaming army that we have to find. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Blue has only got 2 regions left, and my guess is this is either their entire remaining military force or close to it, because we embarrassed a huge number of their units here. So we might be able to just wipe Blue out entirely. Listen, the game is maybe a little bit too easy for me on the impossible difficulty. I would really expect them to put up more of a fight. Like I said, though, this is just a game where we're feeling out the new mechanics. The next game will definitely have the challenge level set a little bit higher. So that is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time to see if we can indeed just put these vaulters away. I knew it was going to be a little bit on the easy side. I'm a little surprised by exactly how easy it has been. And we'll see you then.